Welcome to Tip Tuesday. We're going to be looking at a scenario where sometimes you'll have blank values come in and you need to be able to have some extra logic work with them. Unfortunately, what sometimes happens is you also have zeros. And so, for example, here, if I look at this, we might want a scenario where if the as left is left blank, we might want to put a red box up here just so that you can highlight the fact that this was blank. So it seems fairly reasonable. And what we would normally start doing then is looking at doing some calc logic. So whether you're trying to highlight it or turn off some other stuff or put up a message that says, skipped or whatever, we're going to just use a red box because it's really, really visible. So the most obvious thing to do is to say, hey, if the calibration as found is nil, then we're going to have the red box be visible, otherwise it's not. And so here shape 3 is this item, and shape 13 is this one, shape 14 is this one, and we've also got, this is DB text 31 and 32. So our obvious logic would be, okay, if the as found is nil, which is the equivalent of null in the database or blank, we'll make that happen. Except the 0 gets treated the same as nil. You might say, okay, well, let's see what happens if I come over here and try checking for zeros. And you're going to see the exact same thing happen. So as far as our pipeline is concerned, 0 and nil are exactly the same thing. So we're looking at this, well, if we can't look at the calibration test points as found, maybe I can look at my object. So I could come down and I could say, let's look at if the object, the field value, which is what we're looking at, is 0 or not. And if we hit preview, so here, this was a 0, which gives us our red box. This was not. So here we've got a scenario where these are different. And say, okay, so cool. Then obviously what we should be able to do is check that for nil. And that seems really obvious. It seems like the way to go. Except, again, these are not matching to nil. We don't know why exactly, but what we do know here now is this is treated as 0 for both scenarios. This is treated as 0 only for the pipeline, not for the object. So what I can do now is come in here and say, let's check against both. So what I'll do is I'll say, if the pipeline is 0 and the display value is not 0, that means that it's truly blank. Otherwise, not blank. And it doesn't like us putting those comments in there, so get rid of those. Oh, and we've got to get rid of that. So once I hit preview, now we've got this red shows up. Now, instead of a box, you could do things like put a message here that say skipped. So we could do this with a label. So this is label 43, so I could come in here and do something like this. And now you can see our skipped message. So we could use this for a text message, put a red box, and we can even do fun things like move this up here, move this up here. And so then you get really clear skipped unread, which might be important for certain customers if they've got validation or something like that. So you can just come up with any kind of message you want. Have a good day.